Well, if we're concerned about how the government operates, it was the Daily Express headline which really caught my eye today. It says Khan must quit over grooming failure. And this is about a whistleblower revealing the horrific extent of capital rape gangs and demands. Now, when I read the small text on screen, I was very interested to see that the whistleblower was, in fact, former Met Detective John Wedger, a man who the UK column knows extremely well, and we've done a number of interviews with John. Let's just remind ourselves of what he was talking about. Now, remember, this is a former Met policeman who discovered widespread child abuse in London, children being taken out of the protective care system, given drugs, prostituted via various groups. But when he brought a report together to take the lid off what he saw happening, the police turned on him. This is just a brief quote from what John Wedger has had to say back in 2018. What happened from the time that you whistle blew on this really outrageous abuse of children in London?
Well, I mean, like I mentioned in our audio interview, I genuinely thought that as soon as I whistle blew that things would start going in the right direction. I thought I'd get the backing. I mean, as well, I mean, I'm coming forward in respect to some really, really horrendous and serious crimes. Having worked as an investigator for many years and realised the protection that we would afford our victims, our informants and our witnesses of crime, I thought the same would be afforded to me. And it was the total opposite. I was also warned by other police whistleblowers that I was put in contact with, and that's namely Lenny Harper, who exposed the Haute de la Garenne, Maggie Oliver, who was the one who sort of brought forward about the Rochdale child abuse cover-ups, and they both said the same thing: look, they're going to come for you, and they'll come hard, and they did. And the onslaught was just unbelievable. But what was said to me by my sort of OPCU commander at the time, and he turned around and said, you know, you're looking at, you carry on, you're looking at losing your home, your job and your children. And as the years prevailed, you know, the next 3 years that I went through this campaign of bullying against me. There were,
led by the Metropolitan Police?
Yeah, solely led by the Met Police. The words were predictive because whoever was behind it, I nearly lost my home because my wages were stopped. They tried on 3 major occasions. Each time there was 3 offences I was accused of, which was said to me by both Maggie and Lenny, look, they'll serve you what are called gross misconduct, which each one would have caused me to lose my job, and each one would have a dual purpose. That would be an internal investigation also, would be passed to the Crown Prosecution Service. So I nearly lost my job on 9 occasions. And also, if I can elaborate at some point, that there was a campaign, because I was bringing up 4 kids on my own, to sort of undermine my role as a parent.
This is quite an extraordinary interview with John Wedger, and the key point here is that when he, as a police officer, tried to expose the institutional abuse of children, which included the local authorities and so-called care homes, it was the police and those institutions which turned on him. So what we see is that the whole structure permitting the abuse of children, whether it's via Asian gangs or not, the structure is the structure of abuse. And this is so important for people to grasp, that the rape gangs that have been made such a big thing of, particularly by Tommy Robinson, are one small subset of a system which can only exist, an abuse system which can only exist by virtue of the fact that the institutional system, including the government, including local authorities, including the police, is itself corrupt. So in the, just hold it up for you, this is the actual paper, double page spread inside on this article. But of course, the Daily Express says, well, it's only Sadiq Khan that's the problem, when the reality in John Wedger's testimony is the whole system, including politicians and Westminster and the local authorities and the police, were all involved in the cover-up of child abuse. Why? Because they are part of that abusive system. Now, let's just remind ourselves that a couple of days ago, I highlighted the fact that Harriet Harman had been called forward to produce a report on sexual harassment and abuse within the legal system amongst barristers. This was the actual BBC report where a lady was complaining that she'd been molested actually by a barrister. And Baroness Harriet Harman, KC, had been put forward in order to produce a report. Now, we reminded our audience that, of course, Harman could not be considered a safe pair of hands in any way due to her history with support towards the paedophile information exchange. We asked very clearly, was she a safe pair of hands? And we pointed out that the National Council for Civil Liberties, which she was part of, continued to defend having Pi as a member. And as late as September 1983, an NCCL officer was quoted in the Daily Mail saying that the group was campaigning to lower the age of consent to 14. Now, you've just heard an ex-policeman, John Wedger, speak. Let's have a listen to what Bill Maloney, a man who was abused in the so-called care system along with his siblings, had to say to Harriet Harman.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to get the other side. Okay. Harriet, yes. Right, if I can just give you 1 minute.
Sorry,
we're talking about child abuse. We'd just like to talk to you about the cuts and how it's going to affect child abuse. Harriet, you don't want to talk about child abuse. I understand that, Harriet, but you're here to talk to people on the street, and we represent... So Harriet Harman doesn't want to talk to us about child abuse today.
She didn't say that.
Okay? At the moment, she doesn't.
She didn't say
well, that's what he said to me. I gave her a chance. Mind your own business. Let's go again.
Once you get me.
Let's go again. Chop.
This way.
You've got to get the face. Get the face. Harriet. That's common assault. You'll get arrested for that.
I'm a woman.
I know it's a woman's right.
Sorry.
Harriet, get on me. Harriet, I need to push you on this. Harriet, why won't you talk to us about child abuse, Harriet? You're part of the government. Don't touch me because don't you just touch me. Right, so Harriet, Harriet is not willing to talk about child abuse. And how are the cuts going to affect child abuse? How are the cuts going to affect child abuse, Harriet? Harriet, how are the cuts? How are the cuts going to affect child abuse, Harriet?
I'm very sorry, she's talking to people who've come here from...
So Harriet's gone to the police officer here, and we do carry a press pass, and Harriet Harman does not today wish to talk to us about child abuse. Okay? Thank you very much. Thank you, officer. Right. That was Harriet Harman. She didn't want to talk to us about child abuse, and I think I know why. In 1978, when she became a solicitor, she urged the ministers to make it legal for people to be allowed to take sexually explicit images of children, and she wanted that to be made legal as long as the children in the images hadn't been harmed or abused. So that's Harriet Harman. Harriet Harman was in favour of making sexually explicit images of children, and she urged ministers to do that. So maybe that's why Harriet Harman didn't want to talk to us about child abuse. Thank you very much.
So a question is that if this lady's been promoted by the government in order to investigate abuse, how do they see her now? Let's have a look at how she describes herself.
Well, to win a Lifetime Achievement Award in law, it feels like such an honour and a privilege, and even more so to be amongst all these women who've been nominated for and winning awards in every different aspect of the law, especially because it's not so long ago that really there were hardly any women in the law. So these women are all inspiring pioneers.
So the key point here, and it's a very simple point, is if these are the types of people that are not only in government, but they're helping to control how other people are educated and trained in serious positions as barristers, for example, is it any wonder that the country is at the point of breakdown? And if we come back to John Wedger there in that expose article, clearly describing that the child trafficking system is run through government itself. We're not talking about an Asian system. We're talking about a system that operates and did operate through a largely white ruling class, both politically and through the wider establishment. We'll discuss this more. Over to you, Ben.
Over to Diane, I think.
Oh, I beg your pardon, Diane.
I've spoken enough.
Right. Well, no. Okay. Getting a little bit passionate on that one, and I think it's justified.
Absolutely.
Diane,